菲尔班克斯，北极圈往南315公里，是通往阿拉斯加内陆与北极圈的枢纽与门户，也是阿拉斯加这个美国面积最大州的第2大城市。今年3月，凤凰卫视美洲台受当地旅游局邀请，来到菲尔班克斯采风拍摄，感受大自然的原生魅力。旅程第1天，我们就专访了当地旅游局的 CEO Scott McRae 先生。2021年他上任的时候，正值疫情期间，旅游业低迷。不过 McRae 先生仍然仅用了1年时间，就将低迷态势扭转。根据当地旅游年度报告，2022年就有近10万游客来到菲尔班克斯，比前1年增长了64%，而2025年更是达到了50万人次。
It's been 4 to 5 years since you took the role here
Yes.
as a CEO. How do you like it? How do you feel it now?
I feel very fortunate because I think I get to work in one of the best jobs in the best industry in Fairbanks. So here at Explore Fairbanks, really our job is we tell the story of Fairbanks. We try to tell it in a way that attracts visitors from around the world to come here. And as someone who's lived here for 40 years, I'm very passionate about this place that I call home. So it's very natural for me in this job to have to do what I do, because Fairbanks, this is a dream destination. People from around the world consider this a bucket list and dream to come here. And I have the privilege, along with many of my colleagues, I call this place home. So as someone who gets to tell the story of my home, each and every day I feel very fortunate to be in this job and doing what I do in an industry that gives so much back to the community that we live in.
Do you see it differently now? Because you are calling here home.
I did, no. Prior to being the president's CEO, which I've been for almost 5 years now, I worked as the director of tourism sales. So I had that opportunity before this to be one of those storytellers. So no, I think if anything, it's given me even more passion about this place. I think, Fairbanks, like so many things in life, I think once you fall in love with Fairbanks, you never fall out of love. So from that regards, no, nothing's really changed about my viewpoint necessarily. If anything, it's elevated and make me even happier and prouder to be here in this community.
So tell me about Fairbanks. I'm the first time here. So what would you tell me about how the Fairbanks like? What can I see here?
So Fairbanks, we are known as the Golden Heart of Alaska. And when people think of, coming to Alaska, usually the first thing that comes to mind is Mother Nature. They think of grizzly bears and mountains and northern lights and so forth. And the beauty of Fairbanks is, yes, we're an amazing place to live and visit because of what Mother Nature has to offer, whether it be the northern lights this time of year or the midnight sun in the summertime when we have 24 hours of daylight. So certainly Mother Nature is a big part of it. But for me, what is most important about Fairbanks, and when people are coming here either to visit or looking to live, it's about the people. And that's why we're known as the Golden Heart of Alaska, because of the warmth and the hospitality of the people who live here and love living here and love sharing our story, with visitors from around the world. So for me, the most important takeaway, and we find this a lot with visitors who come here, they say, I got to see the northern lights, I went dog mushing, I went fishing, they did all those things, but a lot of times what stands out the most to them, what their biggest takeaway is, I met some of the nicest people I've ever met. And so being a part of that community where there is such that sense of hospitality and pride and friendliness, it makes it very easy to live here. Even during the winter months when we have some pretty cold temperatures, we get warmed by the friendliness of the people.
I can feel the same way. Like last night when we arrived here and we check in, and there's the lady in the front desk is really friendly and recommend the breakfast place for us.
Yeah.
And also there's a gentleman and just ask us if we need a ride to go to our house, to our rooms.
Yes.
and it's really warm, like
Yeah.
warm welcome for us.
Yeah, that's very common because I reference our winters, as you're experiencing right now, can be a bit cold and unfriendly at times. If someone is stuck on the side of the road, in a ditch, someone's going to come help them right away. And I think the friendliness that Fairbanksans have, it's very natural to who we are, but sometimes it's necessary because when you live in this Arctic climate, we all have to watch out and take care of each other, no matter what walk of life, no matter what political persuasion, no matter what ethnicity. At the end of the day, we're Fairbanksans, and we're pretty proud of that.
Is it like a family?
It is a family of 95,000 people.
Oh, yes. So since the pandemic, like how many visitors do you have? Do you have the numbers?
Yeah, well, of course, the pandemic was obviously just a very harsh time for not just the tourism industry, but the world in general. So during that time frame, there was, of course, a very significant decline in visitation here, but it picked up rather quickly as we came out of the pandemic, going to 2021 and all the way through 2024. We actually started seeing record number of visitors who were coming here. In part, there was that desire, I think, during the pandemic when people were cooped up at home and in doing Zoom meetings and so forth, people love to travel all around the world. People aspire to travel, and we're a destination that people want to travel to. So as soon as people are able to travel again, they started gravitating towards destinations like Fairbanks, where people were looking for wide open spaces, natural beauty, opportunities for for social distancing. And Fairbanks, in Alaska, is of our wide open spaces. We attracted those visitors who are looking for those experiences. So we rebounded pretty quickly. We see somewhere around probably 450 to 500,000 visitors a year in Fairbanks. And what we're very proud about in Fairbanks that does set us apart in some ways from other parts of Alaska, like down in Southeast Alaska where I grew up, they're mostly a summer destination. In Fairbanks, we have a year-round visitor industry. And in fact, winter has become one of our more popular seasons, more so than summer, because of the northern lights and all the winter experiences that we have. So the industry has done quite well. It's, right now there's some uncertainty just because of the world that we live in, but by all accounts, we're still performing pretty strongly.
费尔班克斯坐落在被称为极光椭圆区的环绕北极点的环形区域内，这个位置使得极光在费尔班克斯的出现频率和活动都相对平衡。当强度变化时，最常见的黄绿光在每年8月末到次年4月期间会频繁出现，因此 Fairbanks 也被称为极光之都。
Yes, as I know, like Fairbanks is the golden city for the aurora.
Yes. Yeah, that is. So that's become such a huge draw over the last 20 years for us as a Northern Lights destination. In fact, we like to say in Fairbanks that we have 3 seasons instead of 4. So the 3 seasons that we have our midnight sun season. That's within the April 22nd to August 20th time frame, and that's during the summer season, when we have the 24 hours of daylight and about 70 consecutive days where there's no darkness. So we have the midnight sun season, then we have the aurora season, and we have the dates of August 21st through April 21st. Reason for those dates is because there is northern lights happening year round, but when you have 24 hours of daylight in the summertime, you can't really see them too well. So once we get to August 21st, we start getting those dark skies to see the northern lights. And then we have our winter season, which we typically say is mid-October to mid-March. Probably for this year, we're going to extend winter a bit, probably going into April, just because we have so much snowfall this year. So again, each one of those seasons offers such a different experience to visitors who come here, and of course for the people who live here. There's a dramatic difference between what it's like to be in Fairbanks in the summer versus what it's like to be in the winter. In either instance, it has a very special beauty to it.
Okay, which season do you like most?
Oh, I like them all. I will tell you, I actually, March is one of my favorite times of the year because we start getting the daylight starts increasing pretty rapidly. I think right now we're getting about 6 to 7 minutes a day. We start getting into spring temperatures, and there's just so much activity that's happening during the month of March. It's a very energizing time of year. So March is wonderful. Then I'd say too, September. We have I didn't say we have a fall season because it's like 2 weeks there, but that September timeframe can be an absolutely beautiful time to be here with the fall colors and still having the northern lights in the skies above and still the warmer temperatures. That being said, every month is very special for anyone who comes here.
Wow, it sounds like I must come back during the summer in September.
Well, we do, yes, and that's what's unique about we have people who come here in the summertime. They might be part of a cruise ship package, and they come here in the summer and they get to learn about what we have to offer in the winter and say, oh yeah, I have to come back in the wintertime. And just like visitors who come in the winter, they learn about all that we have to offer in the summer, and we'll come back time of year. So we really are a place that you have to see at least twice, once in the summer, once in the winter, but certainly come back as many times as possible because there's just so much to experience while you're here.
Wow. So what is the most, like the Fairbanks touches the most, like here, the small and warm city?
Yeah, without question, it's the community. The people that I know here, I mean, as I mentioned before, we very much have that warm, close-knit community feel there. And for me, like I think probably if you ask anyone in Fairbanks, what do they love the most about being here, I think 9 out of 10 people will say it's the people. It's that close-knit community. It's going to the local grocery store, and every time you go down an aisle, you're running into someone else that and you're catching up with them and having a conversation, or meeting at a local brewery with friends that you haven't seen in a while. So most definitely, it's the people without question. Morris had this philosophy of the importance of building cultures, of different cultures coming together. So that's kind of the goal here of this building that's named after him, is a sharing of culture, cultures coming together, and especially in regards to helping visitors understand the culture of the native people of Alaska, of Fairbanks. So that's what we try to do here in the Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center. And it's not just about the sharing the beauty of the native culture, the artwork, the traditions, and the history, and so forth. But what we do throughout the exhibits here is demonstrate what is it like to live in Fairbanks, in interior Alaska, year-round. So going back to what we were talking about before, people who come here in the summertime, they say, what's it like to be here in the winter? So you'll see here within the exhibits, we showcase, life in the wintertime, just like visitors who come in this time of year can understand what it's like, in the summer. That includes, telling the story of our events, our traditions, our economy. So talking about that gold rush history, talking about the mining history, talking about our university. So really throughout the exhibits here, probably some of the most beautiful ones I think you'll find anywhere. It's all about telling the story of who are we here in Fairbanks, Alaska.
So for the first-time visitors here, do you have any tips or travel advice, or what are the must-see or must-do things here?
I would say for any visitor who's coming here for the first time, they should, without question, they should absolutely come here to this building first, the Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitors Center, where we operate our Visitors Center. I have an amazing team here of visitor engagement specialists who can help answer any and all questions visitors have about what to see and do, once they're here. So that's a wealth of information here. There's, Fairbanks. I think Alaska has a lot of mysteriousness to it, and a lot of sometimes misperceptions about what we have to offer. So certainly having the conversation and talking to the people who live here and can give that guidance. I would say, on top of that, it's good, plan extra time while you're here. Again, there's just so much to see and do here. Fairbanks is not a destination one can get a good sense of what we have to offer in just a couple of days. So take some time, enjoy it. Not just to get out and be busy with the attractions and tours and so forth, but also just to have some time for those quiet moments, to enjoy the fact that you're in this land wide open spaces and peace and serenity, and enjoy that downtime there. Put the phone away. Put the phone away and just enjoy the peace that comes with living in this part of the country.
Or even just stand outside and breathe.
And breathe in the air. Yeah, that's for people who have lived in big cities and come here. That's one of the things they're just amazed by as soon as they get off the plane and step outside the Fairbanks International Airport and breathe in that Alaskan air. It's just how clean and pure it is, and that's summer and winter too. I mean, this time of year with the temperatures are cold, but it's very refreshing at the same time. That the cleanness of the air and just the beauty of the winter landscape. It's a very unique place to live.
Yeah, I was feeling like I'm back home because last night when I just came out to the airport and I breathed like the fresh air in the winter especially, and the smell is almost like I'm home.
It's very noticeable as soon as once you step outside the airport, you're someplace different.
Yes. Well, I was really touched, because when I was in the high school, every time my father picked me back home, and we drive the same way like this. There are icy road and snow outside all around. There's a white snow world. It's really familiar with me, and it's been around 10 years. I've never experienced that winter.
Okay.
So I feel really.
So this felt like home, coming home to you.
Yes, like coming home.
Very nice.
Yeah, and you grew up in Southeast Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood and what are the lifestyle like?
Yeah, I had a pretty unique childhood. So I grew up in the Southeast Alaska portion of the state, which is very different than interior Alaska. It's coastal communities, and the climate and the geography there is similar to like the Pacific Northwest in the U.S., like Seattle or that area. Lots of rain. Big spruce trees and oceans filled with fish and so forth. But I grew up in logging camps. So these were very rural communities where logging was the main industry there. So I grew up going to school in a one-room classroom, very small population. So it was a very different, lifestyle than, being here in Fairbanks, which, compared to other cities in the world, we're 95,000 people. We're not that big, but certainly bigger than how I grew up. But I definitely look back at it with, very fond memories of the way that I grew up and where I grew up, and, because one, looking at it now from the perspective of being in the visit industry, those places where I grew up that's the type of places people dream of going to just because of all the wildlife and the opportunities for fishing and outdoor exploration. So yeah, it was very unique childhood in some ways, just because of the remote aspect of where I grew up. But I certainly do have fond memories of my childhood and those communities that I once lived in.
So how all this childhood experience and all the environment shaped your personality, like now?
Well, I think because, and it's very similar to as much as close-knit of a community as we are here, in Fairbanks, in those rural communities where you have, 100 people living or so at a time. It goes back to that, that sense of community and people working together and helping each other out. That was certainly true growing up in those smaller communities, and it's certainly true here. So I think that's, that sense of community is something that's always been near and dear to my heart, and I think a lot of it has to do with growing up in those areas where the communities were so small, and thus it was so much more necessary for people to be working together and getting along together, which is something we just all need to be trying to do in this, in this day and age, is people coming together, as friends, sharing stories, and trying to do what we can, to make the world a better place.
So is that the motivation for you to be in the travel industry, even staying here for all the life, like being here?
I would say yes. Yeah. Certainly, it has to do with why I continue to call Fairbanks my home for almost 40 years. But But yes, and I think that's again going back to my earlier comments. That's the beauty of this job that I feel blessed, be able to work in, is because of people. So many people just have huge dreams. I think of Alaska and think, I have to go there someday. So I feel fortunate I get to live in a place that most people aspire to. But it's also wonderful in this industry when a visitor comes here for the first time and you have a conversation with them and they talk about how they've always been passionate and had this desire to come to Alaska, and the joy as they speak about what they've seen. One of my favorite experiences is when, because I mentioned, we're our Northern Lights destination, which a lot of people, have big dreams of seeing. When someone who's dreamed of seeing the Northern Lights, when they see them for the very first time, their reaction, it's just, there's nothing like it. I've seen people just break down in tears of joy when the Northern Lights have been out, and I get to see them. I live here. I get to experience that. So it is, yeah, it's very rewarding, not just to live here, but of course, even more so to share this place with others.
费尔班克斯作为全球观赏北极光最佳地点之一，全年有超过243天的机会可以看到北极光景象。本该习以为常的本地人，也常会被它的灵动变幻感动。
Do you remember the first time you see the aurora in your lifetime?
I don't remember the first time, but what I can tell you is that anytime I see the Northern Lights now, I am just as amazed by them as I was the very first time that I saw them. Like some people say, oh, you live in Fairbanks, you must get tired of seeing the Northern Lights. You never get tired of seeing the Northern Lights. I mean, they can be so different from one night to the next. And most people at Fairbanks are like that. When we have a good Northern Lights show, you can go to Fairbanks Facebook page the next day, and people have lived there all their lives and say, look how the lights were last night. I always say there's three things that I never get tired of seeing living here in Fairbanks. So one is the Northern Lights. Mm-hmm. Two is seeing a moose. We have a lot of moose here. I always love when I see a moose either in our backyard or going down the road. And then anytime that the mountain Denali is out, which can sometimes be visible from Fairbanks, I'm always amazed by the majesty of Denali, the highest mountain in North America, every time I see that. So these things that we have here, no, you never get tired of them. And in fact, I think each time you see them or experience them, you get even more appreciation.
Wow, even you live here more than like around 40 years. But
close to 40 years. Yeah, those things never get old.
So what does home taste like to you? Like not only the food, but also the food.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a tough question. Let me say one thing about food that's very special about Fairbanks is that a lot of people are surprised by when they come here, because most people, when they think of having food in Alaska, they think of salmon and Alaskan seafood. Is that we have here in Fairbanks, a population of 95,000 people, we have 25 Thai food restaurants. I think we have the most Thai food restaurants per capita of anywhere in the country. It's become a very a popular cuisine here, and it's got a story about how that how Thai food became so popular here. So on the food wise, to say what does Fairbanks taste like? Surprisingly, Thai food comes up there, but that's tough to really specify a taste to Fairbanks as a whole. So let's go with Thai food.
Okay, that's surprised me.
Yeah. Well, I think when you have the winter temperatures, like we do, if you're looking for a good type of cuisine dish to warm up by, a curry ranked up a few notches in levels of spiciness, that'll warm you up even when it's 50 below out.
How about Chinese food?
Chinese food, yes, we do have. Yeah, we have some very good Chinese food restaurants here as well.
Yeah, because in my hometown, in the winter we have the hot pot.
Yes.
And we have the sour cabbages.
Yeah.
And we do the hot pot. We put all the meat and every veggies together in the big hot pot.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yes.
very familiar. Yeah, we had a hot pot restaurant here, but it's been out of business for a few years now, I think. And that's mentioned China. That was I've been very fortunate. I've had several trips to China in my previous position here on sales missions, because China, prior to the pandemic, that was one of the biggest up-and-coming international markets to Alaska and to Fairbanks, with especially with the Northern Lights tourism. So I've had the opportunity to travel throughout China, Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, and so forth. And what I learned a lot of things. It was such an amazing cultural experience that I'll never forget. But having Chinese food in China is a lot different than having Chinese food here in America. And it is much better on your end than it is here. It's like, oh, this is Chinese. This is what Chinese food is about. So my stomach very much enjoyed my travels throughout China.
亚洲游客一直是菲尔班克斯旅游的主力军，近年来也有越来越多在美国读书的中国留学生选择菲尔班克斯作为假期旅游目的地。
I think what's most interesting that we've seen here in Fairbanks over the years now is college students who grew up in mainland China and are going to universities in the United States. Fairbanks has become their spring break destination. So most college students in the U.S., when they go on spring break, they want to go to Florida and go to the beaches. But for the students who are from China, this has been their spring break destination. So this time of year is in March is when we have most of our spring break visitors. So there's a good number of the younger college students who are here to see the Northern Lights and enjoy winter and just take in the uniqueness of being a place that's quite different than anything they've experienced.
It's just here, like I'm feeling like I'm back home. So I want to ask, what does home mean to you? Like the hometown home.
Boy, I'm probably sound like a broken record because I keep mentioning this, but at the end of the day, home to me is it's about the people. It's I know any other way to put it. It's simply about the people, not just the people who make up my family, but others without the extended family that is the residents of Fairbanks. I think at the end of the day, any description of home it's not a physical structure. It's not about that. It's not about how much money you make or any of that. It's about people, and it's about caring for people and having that sense of community that I think so much defines who we are as Fairbanksans.
Using one sentence, describe the Fairbanks.
One sentence, describe Fairbanks.
The most important.
I'm gonna go back to what our motto is, and it's the golden heart of Alaska.
Okay, that's the golden sentence for the whole interview.
I think it's just expand a little more on what we mean by the golden heart of Alaska. Yes, it's it's about the hospitality and the big heart of the people who live here. It's also connected to the fact that we became a city in the early 1900s because of the discovery of gold back then, and also because we are centered right in. If you look at the map of Alaska, you see where Fairbanks is. We're right in the center of the state. Essentially, we're the heartbeat of the entire state. So I think that golden heart moniker, as it is, it describes us in so many different ways.
最后，我们请 Macaria 先生推荐了菲尔班克斯的最佳旅游路线。那么接下来就请跟随我们的镜头，一起领略极光之都的魅力吧。